EFA popped up on my radar today. I wanted to take a look at it real fast. You can see we had a gap up, a move to a 52-week high above this third deviation band on the Bollinger chart. We've got a candle forming here that would seem to indicate there's a tremendous amount of weakness as it sold off from the top here. Possibly can move back down into this range in this area. This is the Bollinger Band chart. Let's look at it on the wave chart. Same thing, well above our Keltner, second deviation Keltner here. Got a good candle here. It looks like a short. I'm going to watch it till the end of the day to try to make up my mind what I want to do here. We've got RSI moving close to the 70 range. I'm expecting some weakness into next week based on this calendar and based on how far it is out. The question is, let's take a look at the moving averages, well above those. They're stacked up, but again, I'm looking at a counter trend trade here. There's no way I could go long with EFA up this high and this far above my Bollinger Bands, but I do believe it's going to trade back into this range. Now the question is, do we want to place a trade that would take advantage of some consolidation, or do we think there's going to be a move to the downside? Because that makes a difference on what type of trade we want to place. I'm going to run through a couple of examples here for you. And first I'm going to operate under the assumption we're going to get just some choppiness here, not necessarily a pullback, and see what kind of trade will work best for that. Typically what you're going to want to do in a case like that is sell premium. So you could sell, if you wanted to sell a call spread, you could probably go out to maybe this 10 January. You could sell a 70. Cover it with a 71, but there's really not a lot of premium in that, so that's really not a very good trade. So let's take a look at another option if we think it may consolidate. Let's see if we think the consolidation is going to occur around the 69.50 range, and we believe that it's got more of a leaning toward the downside, which based on the candle we see right now, we would look at that. Or do we think it's going to get back into the 69 range through consolidation? True consolidation, you would need to stay through here, bounce around a little bit. I do think there's some potential to move back to the 69, but I'm going to price out a 69.50 calendar just to see what that looks like. So let's say we want to buy a calendar, and we're going to short the 69.50 for next week. And I'm going to buy probably the 17 January of next year. So I could get that for a 29-cent debit, which is not bad. I've got, that's a pretty good, return there if you can make this work for you. We would go long the 17 January and short the 20, hoping for some consolidation around the 69.50. Best case, it finishes right at 69.50 and we could get to keep all this premium, which would actually be really nice. Worst case, it might move further away from us. Let's check and see what this is trading for. So it's trading for $1.09. It's trading for 78. So if it finishes right at the 69.50 range, this calendar, you could make all this profit through here, as this would finish around the 0 range. So that's a pretty good, trade if you think that this is going to consolidate into next week. You would want to get out of it next week probably. I would close the trade if it went above 70. I would go ahead and just close it and take whatever loss there was. If it moved down into the 69 range, I might try to roll that 69.50 to the following week, which is why I don't trade them just over 1 week. You could do an all or nothing, and you could do the 27 December, and you could get that for 7 cents. And again, you're hoping this finishes for a 0 value, and then you would still have 78 cents left in the 69.50. So theoretically, you could make around 70 to 80 cents per contract if next week it finishes right at 69.50. So that's one option if you want to do a calendar and you think it's going to consolidate. The other option would be if you think that it's going to move down. And that's kind of what I'm leaning toward at the moment. Now, it's going to depend on how this candle finishes today. If it were to gain strength to finish up here, then I would be leaning more toward consolidation next week. But if it looks like after, in a couple of hours, closer to maybe an hour before close, if it's finishing toward the bottom of this candle, then I would almost be willing to take a chance on a move down here. So let's price out a put debit spread and see what we could get on that. And since we're buying it, I want to get a little more time. Again, this January is pretty good. I would look at this at 35 days. Typically, I like to go the delta about 70 in the money. So I would be looking at, if I was going to buy the call, I'd be looking at around this 72 call put. I'm sorry, at the 70 delta, I would buy this one, and then pay attention to the chart and decide where I wanted to close the trade. If it goes above 70, I would go ahead and close the trade for whatever loss I had. But the other thing you could do if you're not wanting to spend $300 on this trade is you could do a debit spread. Let's look at buying a debit spread. So we would want to buy the 72, and we probably want to sell, again, it kind of depends on how much money you want to spend, but I would look at selling around the 68 against it, and that would give me $267 that I'd have to spend on this one spread. Now I could, bump this up to the 68.50, and then I would get 254. I'd have to spend 254 on it, but you have to be careful because the spread is only 4 wide, and you're already spending over half. So, and ideally you're going to try to make about 3/4 of the spread. So the most you're looking at trying to shoot for at this spread is $3. So that's only a $32 profit, which is not very good considering your debit. That's why I would probably lean more toward just buying this 72 right here to 73 delta outright as opposed to doing a spread. Just not getting a real good value on this spread number. If I drop it down to a 5-point spread, that's a little better at about 50% of it. So now I'm trying to get about $4 or $3.75 out of it. So that's a little bit better if you wanted to do that. So I'd probably look at the 72.67 spread if I was going to do a spread. You're going to save a little money. Reduce your risk a little bit from spending $320 or so. Instead you're going to do about $290. So you got a little less risk, and you've got 5 points here. So I like that better. I don't think we're going to necessarily get down to the 67 range by that time period. I think best case I'd be looking to take some profits around 69 or 68. So perhaps the counter is a little bit better trade for your money if you want to bet on this pulling back. Let me know if you have any questions. If you have any comments, please like the video and please subscribe to the channel. Thanks.